All right, so I was thinking about this the other day,
Okay,
selfishly.
all right.
In 16, when you all played Oregon, Scheffler played Wise. Did he ask for that matchup?
No, but it's President's Cup style, so you kind of have control of the pairings. And what I mean by that is we were the number one seed going into that match because we had won the medal play portion of after 72 holes. So we controlled that, and
So they had to put down first.
they did, and that way we controlled who was going to go at that point. And so it was available for us to get that done that way. And it would have been either Doug Gim or Scotty Scheffler that was going to play him. As it turns out, I mean, we knew that Scotty Scheffler at that time was absolutely our best match play player. And we were in a tough spot with Bo not being able to compete that day, so we needed that victory. And he was going against Aaron Wise, who was the
Medalist.
he was the medalist. He was the NCAA champion and on his own golf course. And there was an interesting side to that because I think it was on the 12th or 13th hole that day, par three. Wise had made I don't know, maybe a 20 or 30-foot putt and he let out a big scream. And Scotty had like a 15-footer to top him. And he made it, gave the fist pump, and made sure that that entire crowd knew that he wasn't going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, talk about his medal and just what you've seen from him here lately.
Well, the the big thing for us when we were recruiting Scotty was that he was the United States junior champion, and he had followed in the footsteps of Jordan Spieth. Now, Jordan won 2 U.S. juniors, and only one other person on the planet had won multiple U.S. juniors, and that would be Tiger. So to follow Jordan was no easy task. Scotty Scheffler and Jordan are the only 2 products out of high school golf in Texas that have won 3 straight Texas State high schools. And then to follow Jordan with a U.S. junior, it meant that he was going to have a career as a college golfer and then also as a PGA professional. We all believe that. It's just a little bit more difficult at this time to kind of process what he's achieved in the last few weeks, being number 1 golfer in the world and a Masters champion and having now won 4 times. The nice thing for Texas golf is our program's 95 years old, and we have 96 PGA Tour victories, with 9 of those being major championships and 6 major champions, and now 3 Masters champions. And there's no program in America that matches up with that number of individuals. Certainly Stanford with Tiger and Tom Watson, their numbers are something that we still are chasing. But the bottom line is that on our champions wall at the UT Golf Club, 96 victories is an amazing accomplishment.
Coach, they come in great golfers. What do you do when they're here to send them off to become number 1?
Well, number 1 thing we do is not get in their way. I think I was talking to my assistant coach about that, John Paul Hebert, and I really, the buzz these days is to kind of figure out what your why is as a person. And for us as coaches at Texas, our why is neither he or I made it as professional golfers. We both gave it a shot. I played the European Tour in 1983, and then John Paul gave it a great shot. He was a 3-time All-American at Texas, and he spent 10 years aspiring to be a professional golfer, and it didn't quite happen for him. And then Richie Coughlin, my volunteer assistant, played the PGA Tour from 97 to 2005. He was a 3-time All-American at Clemson. But the bottom line is none of us really made it and had a career. Richie came closest. But our why, what we do is every day start to finish. We're trying to give our kids the opportunity to do what we didn't do. So there's not one day that goes by that we're not doing something that is relevant for them to matriculate out on the PGA Tour and have success. Not everybody's going to do that, but at least we're giving them the opportunity to do that. And I think when you discern down that that's the measure of your program, that it's also going to give us an opportunity to win championships, because if we have that kind of guy on our program or in our program, and we have multiple guys like that, which we do right now and which we've had in the past, then you've got a chance to win championships, and then you've got a chance to send these guys off. And I think that one other thing is really important. I think this program, and I think this is inherent to Texas athletics, is that our dreams as coaches don't end with when these guys finish their career, or women for that matter. That's really when it begins. And I know that that's what Coach Sarkeesian and Coach Beard are trying to do right now, because the measure of their programs is going to be the success that they've had here. But when they start having 20 or 30 guys, in football's case, out playing in the NFL, and maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys from our basketball program that is going to play in the NBA, then right now we've got 8 guys on the PGA Tour. And they're all really good players, and they have a chance to win at the highest level, and they have done that. And so that's kind of our why. That's what we do.
What was the message to Pearson coming off the Western Am, and what's the mindset of the team right now?
Well, I think right now, I think everybody can relate to this. We've had a lot of challenges and difficulties that we've had to overcome, and some serious pain last year of not achieving what we thought we were going to do for whatever reason. There was a lot of reasons, but there's a lot of fire in our guys' belly right now, and our program has a lot of synergy connected to it. And I tell people in fact, I was telling Jordan Spieth last night, that's a great combination to have inside your team when you have that kind of fire, maybe a little bit of anger, and then also synergy, and then you double down with maybe real talent and ability, you might just get the job done.
When you talk about fire, how does that present itself? Because golf is a very conservative, very low-key sport. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that Tiger played 25 years with anger, and how he manufactured that, I'm not exactly sure. But I think what it does is it raises the level of your concentration, and it raises the level of your focus. And anytime an athlete has that happen for whatever reason, if you have the ability, if you have the talent, if you put in the time, well, then you're going to get a heightened possibility of success, and that's exactly what's happening to our program right now.
You talk about the synergy. What is it about this team that you have that?
Well, there's a picture of us, and it's kind of funny, but and I didn't even recognize it until I saw it, but there on the coverage that the Golf Channel did of the Western, Pearson had about a 10-foot downhill putt, and we had a 2-shot lead on par 3, and that putt could get away from you. If you hit it at all too hard, it was going to go 10, 15 feet by. And so I walked over and I said, hey, we've got a 2-shot lead here. And he goes, I know. I'm gonna leak this one down, and I'm gonna hit it really easy. But he wasn't happy about it because he really wanted to make par there, and the holes prior to that didn't go his way. But he got it down there to about a foot, and he made the putt. And then he got his ball and then walked to the front of the green, and I walked over to him. And there's a picture of us both standing there. We just won a golf tournament. We both knew it, and both of us had a scowl on our face. And I'm like, man, that's just the intensity that golf course brought to us, which was Pasatiempo at a really high level of difficulty. And then not being satisfied. I mean, we won, and that was great, and we beat the defending national champion in Pepperdine. But it's not, it's satisfying to win, but there's way more that we want to accomplish right now, and that leads us into the Big 12 championship, our regional championship, and then the NCAA's.
So when do you have Jordan and Scotty talk to the team?
I don't know. We might from time to time, but the bottom line is those guys. I did that a long time ago with Ben, and the issue is that these guys are so motivated right now, and really what I need for Scotty and Jordan and Dylan and Jonathan and Kramer and Doug Gim and Cody Gribble, what I need from those guys right now is for those guys to just keep doing what they do. Because I tell people all the time, every weekend is a blessing for Pearl and I, my wife, because we get to watch those guys after they've made the cut and have a chance to win the golf tournament. I mean, that's synergy, because every one of our guys watches that when it happens. And it's been a little bit more apparent lately. I mean, we've won 5 out of the last 7 PGA Tour events. I think all of our Texas Exes feel that right now. I can't tell you how many alumni I've heard from lately that are just so proud of what has happened with Texas golf and what's happening at the UT Golf Club, and it's kind of a microcosm for what's happening with our entire program.
Not that you needed a coach, but how much is that helping for the recruiting stuff? Just seeing all these names all of a sudden, I mean, that's all they talk. Every telecast you hear is Texas, Texas, Texas. You know, how much is that helping?
I mean, one thing's for sure, we don't take it for granted, and I'm very appreciative. But I would say it's like a commercial for our program on a weekly basis. And there's other programs in America, you know, the one right here in the Big 12 that's really difficult to deal with. It's Oklahoma State, and then Georgia has multiple guys out there as well. But I like where we are right now, and I think there's no question that there are some great players out there that are looking at Texas.
What are those Sundays like for you? You know, when you're watching Scotty close out a Masters, and then the next week Jordan close out the RBC.
Yeah, for like I said, for Pearl and I, it's a blessing, and it's just it's so exciting, and it's a lifetime of work that you're kind of getting rewarded on a personal basis. But we did this for a reason, and it's not about us. It's about those guys. It's about Scotty Scheffler. It's about Jordan, and even after the Masters, when Scotty won, I text Jordan because I knew he was stinging, he'd missed the cut. And I told him, I said, you know, your time is coming, but you were our trailblazer. The reason this happened is because of you, because you reignited our program. Ben Crenshaw broke the code in 1984, and he was the program's trailblazer. But Jordan Spieth was our trailblazer in my tenure. 25 years, because he not only went out and won on tour, he won 3 major championships, and it put an exclamation point on the success of the program. So that everybody that followed knew that this is possible if you come to Texas. And I like to think if Scotty Scheffler had chosen to go someplace else, maybe this doesn't happen. And I think if Jordan Spieth went someplace else, maybe it doesn't happen. They might argue with that a little bit, because I think they feel like they're competitors, and no matter what would have happened, they would have done that. But I think there's this program, this athletic department, this university is about success, and it's about success for the kids that choose to come here, that make the grade, that earn the opportunity to be here. And then what it does is it does not guarantee you success. You got to keep working hard, and you got to keep doing the right things. But what it does do is it gives you a platform for the possibility of success.
So on Jordan's note, when he missed that putt on 18 in the third round, what were you seeing? What were you feeling when he then came back that Sunday to win the RBC?
Well, I knew he was angry. In fact, he said on the telecast, and I didn't talk to him about this, but he said that that's as angry as he's ever been at himself. And because he felt that was, and he used the verbiage, not me, but he thought that was unprofessional, that he should not have missed that putt. That wasn't fair to himself. It wasn't fair to his caddy who worked so hard. It wasn't fair to his team, because to take lightly any shot on the golf course was just unforgivable to him. And so I think he carried that into the final round, and he got off to a good start and, holed out for bunker on the third hole, from the bunker for an eagle, and then made a 35-foot putt for eagle on the fifth hole, and he was off to the races. And but that kind of gets back to playing with anger, and I think he did that last day.
Last year, you mentioned it a little earlier, frustrating for all the different reasons. What was the message to the team then, and how have you all used last year as motivation?
Yeah, I think we just ran out of gas last year. We were right there. We had positioned ourselves where we could win the Big 12 championship. It didn't happen for us. So we lost by a couple, and then we lost by 1 to Oklahoma and 2 to Oklahoma State, and that was really, really hard to swallow. And then we won the regional in Indiana, but in the meantime, our guys, two of our guys, Pearson Cootie and Cole Hammer, played in the Walker Cup, and then right after that, they played at the Byron Nelson on the PGA Tour. And in my opinion, they had been robbed, not by anybody in particular, but just the situation, COVID and all that, of the opportunity to really spread their wings. So I wanted them to take advantage of every opportunity that they had, hoping that their youth would overcome the possibility that they might get exhausted. But it didn't happen. They both were exhausted at the end. Neither one of them. Pearson was ill and couldn't play in the NCAA. He did play one round, but not like Pearson can play. And Cole just hit the wall as well. And so that left us with a 25th place finish at the NCAA, which is really hard for me. I'm like, that burns me right now. And that was not their fault. That was on me. And so when we started this year, we started with that fire. And then, lo and behold, we had another incredible moment when the Cooties, got injured and weren't able to play for 4 months, and kept them out of multiple tournaments in the spring. And the nice thing about that was that other guys got an opportunity. But the tough thing about that is we got hit over the head by a lot of our competitors, and we're ready for things to balance out on our side.
2, 3 last ones. Coach, what would you say is the hardest and the funnest golf course to play at for you and also for the players?
Well, I think they're all looking forward to playing Whispering Pines. Corby Robertson, one of our former football players, great player, All-American in the early 60s, developed that with another great player, which was Chris Gilbert, who played on our football team for Coach Royal. They started Camp Olympia, and there was some golf holes on the property, but they developed Whispering Pines, which is arguably the best golf course in Texas. And all of our guys are looking forward to going to Whispering Pines and playing the Big 12 championship there. Our rotation is Whispering Pines, Southern Hills, and Prairie Dunes. And Whispering Pines is one of the finest places you're ever going to be. And it's reminiscent, again, of Texas. Chris Gilbert, Corby Robertson, their families put that together. And we're all the beneficiaries of that. So we're looking for a fun time there.